afterwards. And so I will just get stuck in. Now, can you see my Salesforce screen there? Is that's changed? Perfect. Thanks, Rohan.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so okay, so for those of you who don't know, Lumary sits on top of the Salesforce platform. So we may use those terms interchangeably. Sometimes something is a Salesforce specific sort of thing, and sometimes it's a Lumary specific thing. Salesforce does prefer Chrome, like a lot of websites. So if you aren't using Chrome and you're finding you're having any issues, just try it in Chrome first before sort of trying anything else. So now everyone is logged in and everyone should be on our homepage here. You can see we have the little Balikara logo at the top. The homepage is basically a dashboard that shows different charts from different reports. It is customizable. It's something that we'll probably get into a little bit later, and usually more for sort of system administrators to set up for you. Okay, so just some general navigation on your homepage here. So Salesforce, a bit like our phones, builds apps. So this right here that we're in is the Lumary app, and that will determine all of the tabs and the objects that you can access. To change between apps, you can click on these 9 little dots here called the app launcher. For the most part, you won't be changing too much between the apps. You'll generally want to be in the Lumary app. However, you may need to hop into the scheduler app as well for those who will be doing scheduling. You can tell you're in the Lumary app. You'll sort of really get used to it. I'll just quickly show you. If we go into the scheduler app and we change that, it changes our tabs across the top, and these are now scheduling specific. So I'll just pop back into Lumary. Okay, so now we're here. I'll just get everyone to come up and click on, or do we have, if anyone has any questions, just interrupt me throughout the session. That's no problems at all. So I'll just get everyone to click on this little icon in the top right-hand corner. This is basically your profile. So if we click on our name, I'm the Lumary admin, you should have your name there. That will take you into your profile. You can give yourself a picture if you want if you want a picture on your user. You can click this edit and give yourself a little about me blurb. It's up to you. And this screen basically shows you a number of things. So we have this chatter function where you can sort of chat to people, usually on a specific record, about specific records. However, if you're tagged in it or if you've created a chat, you'll be able to see all of that here. We will go into that in a bit more detail as well. Any files that you own will come up here, which can be handy if you're not quite sure where something is. You can just come onto your profile. If you know you've uploaded it, it will sit here. You can also follow different users, so you can see all of the users that you're following here. That's just some pretty basic overview. Now, if we all click on our user detail here, this will take you through, sorry everyone, 2 seconds. So if we click on, yeah, there we go. So if we click on edit, this screen will pop up and you can edit, say your name changes or your address changes or your phone number changes. You can come in here, you can edit that. And if we do click on user details, sorry, we will go back there. Sorry, it's not working. You can also come into this screen and edit your details as well. That's fine. So now we'll come navigate back to our home screen. This screen here that we're in is setup. So this will also tell you what app or where you're in the program. The setup is more of the back end sort of configuration. Most of you probably won't spend too much time here unless you are a system administrator. But we're going to go back to the app launcher, go back to Lumary. Okay, so now we're on our home page. So we have our tabs across the top, which basically take us to our different objects within the system. Salesforce uses the term object. It's essentially like having a big spreadsheet, and each of these tabs would be their own spreadsheet with all of the data and everything in them. We just call them objects. The great thing about Salesforce is that we can relate all of these objects to each other and the information to each other depending on their actual relationship. And it allows us to report on certain things and whatnot. Okay, so now when you start working in Salesforce, Lumary, you'll start to pick up on the certain objects that you spend a lot of time in. If for some reason an object isn't here, we can search for it in our app launcher. You can also edit your navigation bar. So just for each user, you can come in here, say if you don't like the ordering or there's one up there that you never use, you want to simplify it, you can simply click on the pencil icon at the top right of the navigation bar. We can move things around. We can add more items here, which will pull up all of the different items that we can add up into that navigation bar, just to make things a little bit easier for you. At first, you're probably not going to know what you need, but once you start working in it, you'll pick up on your main objects that you work in. Okay, so we'll just start with some basic navigation of the system. If we all click on contacts, now your screen might be blank because this genuinely the default list view that will come up is your recently viewed. So for the new users, there probably won't be anything there. Anyone that's logged in, you might have a list view. We can edit list views, and we can also pin the list view that we want to default. We'll go into creating list views in a moment in today's session, so we'll go into a little bit more detail. But basically, the list views are sort of an easy way for you to access data. It's sort of like a basic report. We do have obviously much more detailed reports in Salesforce, which we will go into. We have hyperlinks to different things. So if we click on this, it will take us to that contact record within Salesforce. Sorry, this is taking some time. And so that's taken us to our contact record, which we'll get into in a minute. And we also have this feature within the list view where we can do what we call mass edits. So say, for example, you're looking at all of these contacts and you've got a list of emails to add in. We can select the people. Actually, emails won't work. We don't have anything here. Sorry, I'll just come to another list view to show that. Sorry about that. So this is our inquiry list view, which will make sense. We're going to create some inquiries soon. Say we've come into these inquiries and we want to update our inquiry outcomes. I can click on the 3 that I want to update. Then I come into that field. If it's got the pencil mark, we can inline edit. So we can edit it without actually going into that record. We can select our option, and we have a checkbox here to update 3 selected items. So it'll update everything with that same value. We apply that and we hit save. So that can be a really good thing when you're wanting to sort of go through and make sure all the information, the important information is there, and you know that you've got a lot of things in the same value. It's just a much easier way to update that information. Okay, so sorry, I'm just going to skip back a step. I probably should have gone through this at the start. Just with regards to help within Lumary. So at the top, you have the question mark. This will bring up 2 different links, the Lumary user guides. Now, these are sort of high level, just process flows that will show you how to do certain things within Lumary. Given that Lumary is quite customizable, we do have, sorry, I was just reading Ryan's comment, sorry about that. So Lumary is quite customized, and Ballycara, we have done some customizations within your system. So there may be things in here, if it's been quite customized, that you won't find in the help guide. However, when it comes to a lot of the standard things like creating an inquiry, converting the inquiry to a contact, creating service agreements, all of that sits in here. You can use the search bar and just sort of try and be as brief as you can. So say you're wanting to create an inquiry, we can search for that here, and it will bring up all of the different training records for that. And it's quite good. We've got screenshots and all of that sort of stuff. That's just something to keep in mind. We also have the NDIS price status. This just gives you an idea of when we'll be updating the rates in the system. Another thing that we have is the Trailhead, so the learning path, which sits next to the question mark. So we can go to learning home. No, sorry, the help, go to Trailhead. So that's that Trailhead button there. This is the Salesforce Learning Center. It is really powerful. There is lots in there. Again, because Lumary is a custom app built on Salesforce, there will be some things that maybe aren't translated. However, the core of the product is still the same. So a lot of the time it is easy to connect what you're doing in the Trailhead with what's happening in Lumary. I would suggest everyone signs up for this. It's free. It's a really great way to just, if you're interested in Salesforce, if you're enjoying the program, there's so much content in there that you can pick up and learn how to do things like where I just showed you the list views all the way through to developing. So it's a very powerful, good learning tool. And okay, so now I'm just going to switch back to contacts. Just one thing that I wanted to let you all know about is within Salesforce, we have an idea of accounts and contacts. So your contacts are any individual that's associated with Ballycara. So that could be your clients, that could be general contacts, so people that are related to the client that you deal with, employees who are related to an organization that you deal with, service providers, things like that. The accounts captures organizations that Ballycara deal with. So that could be medical clinics, service providers, and any other organization that you have an association with. Then you can create contacts that sit within that account. Just a couple of other navigation things. Up here, we have what's called our global search. So we can start searching for things. It will bring up our main contact, our top results here. You see, if I hover over a result as well, it'll give us some basic high-level overview of that record that it's searching. So Nadal is a contact. We can see all of his information here without needing to actually click into anything. We can see an inquiry for Nadal. However, if you want to just bring up everything, we would just hit enter. And now this is everything in Salesforce that picks up with, that's got an NAD in it. So it's like a wildcard search. And it splits it out into all of the different objects or the tabs that we have in Salesforce. We also have up the top what's called a global action. This will make more sense as we go through the training. This plus button here is just a quick way for you to create records without having to sort of go too deep into the system. So if you're not wanting to navigate away from the page that you're on, but you know you want to log a task, we can just click on that and it will bring up this pop-up without getting rid of the page that we're on, and we can create a task, save it, and it's gone. So it's just a quick way to create these records here. Okay, so now we're going to click on inquiries. Before we get into this next part, any questions on any of that basic navigation, anything like that?
Can I just ask a question, Amy, in regards to that add button? If you talk about, say, for a new event, you mean that's a new service type or new, like, contracted service?
So your contracted services, events are more just things that will pop into your Salesforce calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think that we've done anything special with events for you. So we will get to sort of service delivery and agreements and things like that a bit down the track. But yeah, the event basically just pops something into your Salesforce calendar.
Okay. Yeah. So an appointment of some sort, not necessarily client related.
Yeah, not necessarily client related. I suppose it depends how. I imagine a lot of client events you would book through Schedulo. However, if someone does want to say, I must remember to call this client tomorrow, and that's not really a billable or anything like that, and you just want to create these events in Salesforce, you can do that here.
Excellent. Thanks. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no problems. And what will actually happen is you've got the calendar tab here. You click in here. So if I was just to create an event, just quickly for tomorrow, March already, you can relate it to a contact. So say this is the person you're training, or you can relate it to an account, so an organization. We can save that. And it just pops into your calendar here like that. So I suppose it depends how you'd want to manage that. Some people, I think, still prefer managing it in there.